Laura A. Grace here, the author of Dear Author, Letters from a Bookish Fangirl, Team Lines of Poetry Collection, and Finding God Anime Devotional for Otakus, which is free on a variety of platforms. I'll leave a link down below in case if you'd like to check it out. Happy Friday, my friends! I am so excited to be bringing you guys a new video review. I have not done any for the month of February because we were having so much fun with so many special guests. And again, I hope you guys just enjoyed that. Please definitely go check out all of the different videos. It's in my playlist, Manga Shenanigans, and we just had so much fun. Though I won't deny that while I had a blast, I'm also really excited to be doing another video review because I really enjoy doing these kind of videos, and hopefully you guys enjoy them too. Though after saying all that, I'm like, I am missing having a special guest to be able to chat with manga all the time. I guess that just means I need to find up something or brainstorm something to have more special guests on this channel. But let's talk about today's video. I'm super duper excited. This was a manga series that I picked up for my birthday. It was, they were both under 50%. I guess like 75% off when I went to Second and Charles, and it was a series I was gonna get, and I was like, I'll wait. And then when I went back, it was like completely gone. So like online, I should say. But then I found it, picked it up. It's like, I'm not making the same mistake twice. And that is Flower in a Storm. This is a shoujo beat title. It is only 2 volumes. So much fun. Like, I'm not even sure what to say about this series. It was definitely different than I expected. And talking about being different than I expected, you know, usually you have the art on the front and then the back you have art, but no, we actually have an actual picture of a gun with a flower, and the back of the second volume is the same way, but we just have Ron's glasses and then we have rose petals. I was pretty surprised by that, to be honest, because like I said, I haven't seen that I'm aware of. So yeah, that was just sort of different, but I definitely love the artwork of our 2 main characters here on the front. I'm sort of undecided which one is my favorite. I sort of like the pose of this one more, but then I sort of like them sort of like hugging here. Well, Ron hugging her, I should say, because she's not hugging him back. So, but let's go ahead and talk about what this series is about. Flower in a Storm, I always want to say Flowers in a Storm, but Flower in a Storm is about this girl here. Her name is Riko, and she is just a 17-year-old girl who's just trying to live a normal life at high school. She just wants to be normal because she sort of has superpowers, sort of like more of super abilities, but she's not like an actual superhero or superhuman, so to speak. Though the people around her say that she is, because when she was like in middle school, or elementary school, I think it was middle school, she participated in the school festival with the boys, and her crush, whom she ends up confessing to, thought that she was weird because she has these superhuman-like abilities and is super strong and all of these things. So since then, she has been trying to capture that normal life of a high schooler so that eventually when she does fall in love with somebody else, that she can confess and they're not going to think that she's super weird. But her normal everyday life is about to be upturned by this guy here, whose name is Ron. He is like the wealthiest teenager, 17-year-old in Japan. He comes from a family that is just very wealthy. They are, we'll just say, very wealthy, for long story short. And he decides he wants her to be his wife, and he is going to accept nothing less. But they sort of come to a agreement or a deal, and he's like, if I can't get you or capture you by 5 o'clock, then I will give up. I'll leave you alone, won't ask you to be my wife any longer. But he's got some shenanigans up his sleeve that are so funny, and yeah, I'll quit there before it goes into spoilers. So now she's in this position, more or less, of what is she gonna do with this guy's affections and him saying that he will accept nobody else but her. First off, this series was so great. It definitely reminded me of like Takane and Hana meets Shuriken and Pleats, which I do have a video review of. But there's no age gap manga, or there's no age gap romance, and there's also no ninjas. We have assassins, but it is different. And that was a mashup I didn't know I needed, to be honest. It was so great. I definitely think the first volume is a lot funner and just funnier than the second one. But I'm gonna just note now that when you start this manga, you just have to go in with an open mind, because there were certain scenes that I'm like, I don't feel this is realistic whatsoever. And, you know, Ron, he's a hoot. Like, he is just funny. He is a hero that won't take answer for a no. He's not necessarily mean about it, but he's just going to keep going because he wants what he wants, and that's just his personality. So those things can definitely sound very, really negative. I didn't mind them, but I think you have to go into this manga with an open mind because it can definitely be bothersome, I think, otherwise, because I'm definitely a full supporter of, like, in real life relationships. If a girl says no, you need to honor her no. Same as a guy, if he says no, you need to honor that no and not go keep, like, pushing those boundaries. No. But in manga, it's fiction, and I confess that it does make a very amusing situation, especially for our main girl, and so he was just a great hero to follow. He's so funny in this first volume. He's very chaotic. He can be very selfish at times, and he can be almost a little bit whiny. He definitely acts like this teenager who just comes from a really wealthy family, is used to getting his way, and can do whatever he wants, I mean. In the second volume, things definitely, I think, definitely take a turn, because while I think the first volume is very, very funny, and this will be spoiler free, by the way, while it's very funny, it's very light, and I laughed so much reading this. The second volume takes a little bit of a turn, and Ron has character growth outside of him just trying to convince Rico to be his wife and to love him back. There was, I guess, a lot more character development, I guess, behind his character, and you see a deeper side of him than him just pursuing Rico. I had a little bit of mixed feelings about that. It was good. Like, I still enjoyed this volume. I gave volume 1 5 stars, and I gave volume 2 4 stars. And I only gave it 4 stars because I loved how off the wall he was in the first volume. Like, that was my favorite part. So I did miss having that humor element as prominent in the second volume, though it did not take away from my enjoyment in this one. It was just different. And in fact, like Shuriken and Pleats, it reminded me of the same thing, where you have a lot of high stakes action in the first one. It's just a really good time, and then you get to the second one, and the stakes are higher, and it's in a different way, so it makes it more serious. So that is something important to note. And I still felt that there was a unrealistic scene in this one as well. So definitely keep that in mind. And talking about keeping things in mind. So this is a shoujo manga, I believe, and it's published by Shoujo Beat. That I know for sure because it has the Shoujo Beat logo. This is a 16 and up manga, and I was surprised, and I had already looked a little bit into, like, I had read the first chapter on Shonen Jump, or however you want to say it, on the Viz Media website. Yeah, there we go, on the Viz Media website. And so I read the first chapter, and I was like, okay, I'm like unsure like what is in this. And as I kept reading, I don't understand why this has that age rating. The only thing I can guess, because we don't have any blood, we don't have any violence. I mean, there's some blood, but it is, I mean, no, it's just not extreme. It's just not extreme whatsoever. It's very, very light. And so my only guess is that in volume 2, we do have a new character that's introduced who who likes to wear very, like, low-cut t-shirts and very, I was gonna say low-cut skirts, but very high. I don't know how you can say that, but her skirts are super duper short. So she looks a little bit promiscuous, I guess, for a word, lack of a better word, I don't know, when it comes to everybody else in regards to the manga, like all of the other female characters. Nothing is shown though, so I don't know. I really, this is one time I'm extremely baffled why it has that rating. And when, you know, sometimes if you look at the back of the manga, it will give you the parental advisory here, and it'll explain like why it got that rating. This one doesn't have it. It just says it's rated T plus for older teen, and is recommended for ages 16 and up. Now I do want to compare that to, let's go with Kaiju number 8, which I feel pretty confident Kaiju number 8 will definitely have something. Yes, see, this one does have the parental advisory right here, and it says it's recommended for ages 13 up. This volume contains crude humor and deceptions of violence. So, I mean, it has the why it was given the age rating that it did in this one, but then Flower in a Storm does not have it. So I really, really don't know why. I really don't know why. Now that I've rambled enough about that, let's talk about our girl, Riko. I really liked her. She was just different, and I liked how she just wanted to be normal. Like, that was her goal, and they're definitely, and almost, I think it was almost every chapter, at least in the first volume, where she's like, I'm just an ordinary girl, and somebody be like, what about you is ordinary? Because she's very athletic, I guess would be the right word, or very, very athletic, very limber, and she has just a very good reflexes and just has a good head on her shoulders. She's definitely not necessarily ordinary. And then when she does different sort of like stunts or something, let's see if I can find a good example here. Okay, here is a good example that's not necessarily a spoiler. So things have happened. She's up here on this statue sculpture, and she's there, and then Ron's like, okay, it's safe, you can come down now. And suddenly we have her hair flying, and it's implying that she, flipped and is standing or sitting now, kneeling on the ground, however you want to say that. So she does that quite often. She does it on the back of people's heads sometimes, like especially with her teacher, because she's always late. And so she's like, well, if I beat the teacher into the classroom, technically I am not late. And that was a nice little element. I enjoyed that. And Ron, he just really brings the non-normal everyday life to hers, and it was just great. I really enjoyed her character. Like I said, Ron, I really enjoyed him as well, and I think liked almost all of the characters. There's a guy, his name is Redhead. He is an assassin, and he was just a hoot. He was absolutely a hoot. I liked how he does play here he is right here. He does play a minor role throughout the story. Very, very minor. But I did like how he has sort of like these appearances throughout the manga. That was great. And I do like Ron's rival. He was a really interesting character, and I really liked the way he was drawn. He had a very nice look to him, and Ron's, like, I think actually the mangaka mentioned that most of the guys have very nice, clean, and tidy hair because that's what she prefers, but she gave Ron bangs, and his hair is just chaotic. His hair's everywhere, but I really liked his hair as well. So it was just a very good story. I liked the art. Let's see if we can find a cool like panel with Ron, because always need a good panel with Ron. Here we go. He's just great. And let's talk about real quick the message. Outside of him saying, not acknowledging Riko's no and continuing to still be there for her, where like he comes to her school and bring her flowers, and just doing whatever he can to sort of like earn her affections, more or less. I agree with Riko that I really loved how never once has he made fun of her abilities for being super strong or, being very agile. He never has done that. In fact, he loves that about her. And I feel like, expresses himself, his words and his actions to her to show that he just wants her for her. Like, he doesn't want her to be normal. He just wants her to be her, whether that's normal or superhuman. That is a theme that sort of continues, and I feel like Ron helps her to see that she's fine how she is, that she is special. I love how his words and his actions affected Riko, especially as it goes into the second volume, and that's where Riko starts questioning her feelings about different things and about just the different situations, and definitely Ron as a character, and how that she just grew in this one area, and how she came to love and embrace herself, because she made a comment, I think it is with Ron's rival in the first one, because he's telling her, he's like, why the heck would you ever want to be normal? Like, being normal, there's nothing cool about it. It's being overrated. And she indeed gets really upset that he said that. Like, how could you say that? Like, that's easy for you to say, being surrounded by all of this wealth and whatnot. Here we go. I thought, but they're talking and whatnot. And she's like, a boy I liked told me I wasn't normal. I felt like he was rejecting my entire essence. In order to fall in love again, I tried to like myself again. That's good enough for now. And you see that being lived out through her character, through her decisions as the manga progresses, and it keeps going. And I really I just really like that. I'm glad that, you know, even if this is definitely a romance. And then I would say volume 2 is more of a romantic, a little bit, but high stakes adventure with some excitement that's going on, because the romance is definitely more of a little bit of a sad thing. Like, I will say it had a happy ending for sure, though I do agree with her editor's notes, because like the manga mentions that her editor said, well, it's not a like super happy ending. It is a happy ending, don't get me wrong, but I was sort of shocked that I almost cried at the end of this, and I was just like, oh my goodness, you know, how light and fun volume 1 was. I was not prepared to have my emotions jerked at the end of volume 2. Like, okay, I'm okay. But I'm thankful that she actually did end up writing a bonus story that was very, very nice. Like, not just a random bonus story, because there was one at the end of volume 1 and volume 2, but a actual bonus storm is what she called it. Oh, I can't show that because that's spoilers. But there is an actual bonus story that's related to these characters, and I was glad for that, because that felt like a genuine, happier ending, and I felt happy again, is all I'll say. And speaking of like bonus stories, what I'm thinking about, I usually just don't read them. Not because I don't like to read them. I don't have a problem reading like the extra stories that sometimes are included in manga. I just find it pulls me out of the story, and I don't like that, because then you get attached to a different set of characters. But the one short story I did read was The Need for Artificial Respiration. I think it's how you say that. And oh, it was very good. It's very short, but it was a great little bonus story and had a lot of heart to it, and I was pretty surprised. So I forgot that this also had a bonus chapter at the end of this one. Sorry. So I was laughing about that. But overall, I really enjoyed this. In fact, I definitely could see myself coming back to read volume 1 just to have something fun, something that my brain doesn't need to be like, okay, this isn't realistic, this doesn't work, like why would she put that? It's just purely like, this is, I wouldn't say fluff, but it's fluff, you know what I mean? It's not like shoujo fluff with all of the hearts and all of the romance. It's more of just, this is a light action romance that's just enjoyable to read. Like, I mean, I can't think of any other way to word that. And if you're like, okay, well, I want something that's light and just, I was going to say fluffy, just light to read, don't need to think about it, but I want it to get deeper as the series goes on, yes, then that is very true for volume 1 being light, and then volume 2 having more stakes, having more depth to the characters, and learning more about them and their motivations, and just Ron being different. Not in a bad way, but like I said, that we really definitely see Ron and the other side of him that is more deep than the sort of what could potentially come across as being shallow in volume 1. So again, I liked both of these. Definitely could see myself reading just volume 1 just as it is, because I think it loosely could be like a standalone if one really wanted to, and if they want more to read volume 2. And I definitely will read volume 2 as well, but just volume 1, I absolutely loved. Again, I would recommend this series to those who are just looking for something light, leading into more action. If you like that mashup of Takane and Hana with all of the shenanigans, all of the laughter, mixed in with the action and the stakes of shuriken and pleats, then, but with no age gap romance at all, then I would definitely recommend the series. In fact, it was nice as a note to have two teenagers be on the same level or be the same age. That was really, really nice. I enjoyed that. Definitely, I would say, I guess, 4.5 stars as a whole for both volumes combined. It was just great, and I'm so glad that I did get this series. Really, really enjoyed it, and again, I definitely recommend it. Let me know, friends, have you guys read Flower in a Storm? What did you guys think? If you did, what are some other manga series that you know of that have like that mashup of romance but with high stakes and action? It's a fun, I feel like a fun genre, if that's the right word, to read and just enjoy, because I don't know, it's something different, and I don't know, I just like it. So yes, thank you friends so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!